Frank Gehry, one of his best quotes, he said, I can't understand why people would appoint an architect and tell him what to do. It's people willing to pay if they see value in your design. You can go to a lousy firm and your life will be miserable also. The boss probably will try to tell you, this is what architecture is all about, you know. The client, we are service-oriented industry. The client hold a pot of gold. Golden rule is that the person who have a gold rule, they ask you to jump, you just ask how high. You cannot like undercut you, say, I'm charging a little bit less and then take your job. Or you know that you're already working, you're being appointed by that client already, but he purposely also go in to karaoke with the clients, try to get the same job. So that's called supplanting. They happen in the profession a lot, right? So friend also will become enemy, right? But I will maybe dwell a little bit onto why does that happen, right? Like for example, I charge cheaper, you know, I work faster, right? Design, never mind, standard only. Normally it's developer type of bungalow, and then it's also not a good developer. A good developer normally they want to provide you more. They look for design, character and stuff like that, which I think the market seems to be go more and more towards that. But still there are a lot of developers, right? For example, they just want cheaper one. So if you see yourself as eventually, like, I'm not saying that after you graduate you can immediately do that. It takes me a long time, to be honest with you. When I graduate, I don't know what architecture is all about also. I look at my boss like to use black and white, I use all black and white. Which is, it takes evolution, progress in time to achieve lah. But having said that, is that if you eventually get the niche of what you want, then you won't have time to supplant your friend. Because first you charge very high. And then rather than that you are attracting like thousands of clients, those clients that like your work, you're attracted to you. Other architects also want to steal away, also very difficult. Because they trust is in me. Like you say, whether I face it or not. I do. And then it's very dispiriting for me, very sian for me. But to me, that can easily overcome. Easily overcome. Will it happen or not? I think forever it will happen, right? They are always, in fact, majority of them will do things like that. Give me the job lah, yeah, never mind lah. This part here I do free for you lah, then whatever, horse trading lah, you know. I feel that this is a philosophical question, meaning what do you see you as an architect, an artist? Like for example, if you want to create something small, like good architect, there's a saying, good architects seldom fight among themselves. You see, scale of minimum fees. Why is that, you think? Because our profession, we are dealing with safety and health, isn't it? Safety also, we will work in conjunction with the engineer, so that all those things, they have to follow the UBBL. UBBL is not a code, it's a bylaw. And those bylaw, they don't come from nowhere also. They use Australian standard, British standard, that handle all this. You know, we also have architect-client agreement. And I can tell you, almost all developers don't follow that. Right? Put architect in a very tough position. So if you don't follow that, and then the developer don't tell nobody know, right? Right? So if you don't follow the scale of minimum rule, where I can tell you, okay, from the outside, actually, almost I would say 100% of the architect, except for me, don't follow. Right? Because they are basically, why they don't follow? Because they find that it's like marketing only. Now, is architect like that? Yes, some architects see them like that. They don't see it's just a product. They always call it a product, right? Now, the way I practice is like Prada, you know? Right? It's like BMW. The price never come down, right? But you have problem or not? In a bad time like now, yes, you have problem, different sort of problem. They have the standard agreement, which is based on some this thing one. I look at it, I almost want to faint. First, the fees doesn't even touch the scale of minimum fees. Not even 70% of the scale of minimum fees, right? And then you have to put in this, put in that, all not within our architectural agreement one. So you know what I do? You say how I handle, right? No, thank you. Right? Because I think that I'll be so stressed out, it will affect my other job as well. Architecture is like a wine, you know. The older you get, the better it's supposed to be. What I'm trying to say is that you build your reputation over time. So the older you get, definitely the more influential you will be if you are traveling the path of like design-oriented architects. So like when you say, oh, I know, you are this, then already they will not argue with you on the fees. They really like your design. Scale of minimum fees, my view is that you can do away with it, up to you. If you don't do away with it, already the industry already disregard that already. Nobody follow, right? Except for people like me and Jimmy Lim. You see what I'm saying is irrelevant in the sense, people willing to pay if they see value in your design, right? They're willing to pay. But if you are just talk like, I'm architect, therefore, you know, then they can ask you to wait outside, you know. Short answer is I did only once, right, for one African president, you know. Cityscape, when it first came out, Cityscape is an international thing organized by Ivanka Trump at the time, right, in Dubai. And the following year in Singapore, I was asked to give a talk there in Singapore. But then it started to have exhibition there. I also didn't know. Then I have quite a lot of inquiry. But this country is called Djibouti. Have you heard about Djibouti? Neither did I. So apparently this is a country very small. It's like Singapore lah. So they are like Western friendly. So they are like, they pride themselves as like Singapore of Africa or something like that. So I said, no, I don't travel there. So they give me a concept. And then at the time I learned what Swift codes is. You know, Swift code is that when you want to transfer money to your account. So the way I test them very simple. I need a commitment fees, right? So much I won't tell you how much over the Swift code. Then immediately they say, you need a Swift code. I say, what Swift code? I don't know what it is. But international transfer, you need a Swift code. So I give you, immediately they send the money over. I give them the concept. And then they want to build, I say, oh, you get your own contractor, I'm not going over. So I decided not to do it eventually. Because what happened is that, again, there's a philosophical question. What do you see? Architecture is very much come to that as well. Is that there are two countries that I think I'm very comfortable to design. One is in Sydney, Australia. The other one in Malaysia. Because I see architecture as a cultural practice. Like I don't think I can go to Norway or Iceland and then start to design and things like that. Oh yeah, always like that. It's not current trend, ongoing trend. Not only here, Singapore, I have a very good friend there, also the same. But it has always been like that. So don't see that as something new. And if you don't think that there's something new, then it doesn't worry you so much in the sense. But you actually build up your own capacity. I'm not saying right or wrong, it's just that it reflected the Chongyang, you know, the one that you always like that. Well, I'm not saying Western is no good. Western are very good. It's just that then prevent us from going for our own self-searching about our own identity. And identity also a big thing, you know. But you never hear Americans try to find their own identity, right? Right? When they are very confident. And in fact, I learned in one time I was a convener for a very big conference, and this guy is actually represents South Africa. South Africa, they have a code in the building. You have to be almost like a South African, have to stay there for how long? You have to design interior thing or houses. You have to know their culture. But I think Malaysia should adopt that also, so they prevent all those fly-by-night. You have to look at how Malaysia has progressed. We're still very hot, like today a bit of wind, but it's still quite hot. But with the air moving, fan and things like that, it's quite reasonably comfortable, right? So as long as you have take into consideration all these things, that's why I say it's a cultural practice. When it's a cultural practice, so you're very presumptuous for an architect that they can practice everywhere. For an architect, the only stand that I think I would take, and I encourage you all to consider that as well, is that you see, they can come in and practice, I don't mind. But the country that do that in our place they have to reciprocate. I mean, we can also practice that. Like even in Australia alone, there are many states, like you have practice in Queensland, you not naturally can practice in New South Wales. You have to get a separate license. So if they already have that, we should have that as well. And to me, I think the rationale behind it is at least they have to come to learn about our culture, however diverse or multiplicity aspect of it. There's a richness of our culture to it. I say like fourth year, right? Housing project. I go to so many universities recently also. It has been for the last 20 odd years. I'm very interested in education, right? Is that it's almost like just copy from one of the developer design. And then you reproduce it, the plan like that. AI is best what? It's best in a logarithm, in matching. So let's say I want to design a 300 square feet footprint studio unit. What is the most effective one? You go and get a lot, right? And then you just cut and paste together. So can you be replaced or not? Yes, you can be replaced. Computer or AI, they cannot get something from nowhere. They have to generate something, right? AI cannot replace what sort of profession? Chef, no way. Plumber, no way. Why? Plumber always have problem, you don't know how to check it out. Electrician, no. And then you have like, what do you call, artist, definitely no way. To me, it's art-oriented or design-oriented architect, also no way. In my view, no way. Because you cannot, the computer just don't have the reference point, right? But if you start to come up with something standard, right? Mix and match or whatever, oh, they can do much better than you. Now, the way I handle it like from day one, I will refuse to do anything that's beyond my control. Like when I don't have a manpower to control, I prefer not to do it. I worked for Jimmy Lim at the time, he was a president. So there was a medium-rise building in Mutiara Court in Cheras, from Cheras, Perkuat Quarry, there. It collapsed, 1st of September, I think about 1998, 92 or something like that. You can still check on the internet. It's called Mutiara Court, Damansara, Cheras. He get me to be representative. From there, I'm so worried. That's why it gave me a very strong reason that whatever I do in the future, I'm going to do something that within my control. If I have a big project, I make sure I got a good team to control the quality. Because for something to collapse, a lot of things have to go wrong. One plumber died. Now, why I mention this? Because you see, when we deal with something, we are not artists, but ours is larger than art because people walk inside it. Things collapse, people die. Why that building collapsed, for example? It's because the systemic fault in our construction industry. They pay the engineers so little bit because they give you a structure. Wow, I look at the structure, very impressive. The client, the developer side, he said they have their own architect, they have their own engineer, 5 of them fully qualified or whatever. But their company is so big, and then when we go in through the detail, those people never on site one. And who is on site? A Form 5 graduate just went to 1 or 2 sites, right? And he made all the decision on behalf. Engineer, why they're important to check? They have to check the steel bar, right? Like whether they're using the right size or whatever before they pour. Concrete that come in, crack that appear, but the guy not experienced enough to see it, then the whole thing collapsed. Those are when bylaw not comply, right? And then somebody died. And good thing, it's not good thing for the family of that plumber. Good thing is not like fully occupied and then the whole thing collapsed. Even more people die, right? When I go to the site, it's like a sandwich like that. It's very scary. So that already I tell myself, I say, oh, I'm not going to do something that beyond my control. I don't care how big the project and blah, blah, blah. So, non-compliant of bylaw, that is the implication. So this is a lot of time the advice I tell the younger architect is that make sure you work for architect that you like. Or you have to go overseas and find Alvaro Siza, whatever. And then when you come back, they are not because they are Western or whatever. You look at the work that they produce. You want to see how good is the tree, you look at the fruit. You can go to a lousy firm and your life will be miserable also. Then the boss probably will try to tell you, this is what architecture is all about, you know. The client, we are service-oriented industry, right? The client hold a pot of gold. Golden rule is that the person who have a gold rule, right, ask you to jump, you just ask how high, right? So it's very depressing. And it's true. I would say majority of the architect's firm is like that. Like the one that immediately come to mind is like Glenn Murcutt in our same university. You know, he's like 80-something already. He scraped through only his university. It's what he did after the university that make him like become a Pritzker Prize, and then all his buildings are all small scale one, you know, smaller than my houses, you know. So scale doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's a great architecture that embedded in it. Don't worry even about part 3 yet. You group it and then like really go into the design of it, like the niche that you wanted to do. Create small things that you all can handle. And then that's where you break out to something bigger. Design high-rise, 4th year, especially housing, right? You just hang on a second now. My wife called me. That's very important. 老婆啊，我同你講嗬，我對 interview by the student. Can I call you back later, or is it important?
Oh, sure.
Alright. Bye bye. Sorry. Don't angry me.